Today's lesson is on writing a personal narrative, and we will begin on page 168 in your literature book. Your life is a series of stories, all of them uniquely yours. Each reveals something about you and the people and events that shape your life. When you write about yourself, you can begin to gain a deeper understanding of why certain experiences were important to you. In this workshop, you will write a personal narrative, a story that describes a memorable event from your past. Begin by studying the writer's roadmap. That's what we will discuss today. Writing prompt number 1, writing from your life. You will either write a personal narrative describing a meaningful experience in your life. Your narrative should explain the significance or the importance of the experience and include details that help the reader visualize the characters and unfolding events. Some experiences to explore could be a memorable incident from your childhood, a challenging experience that taught you a lesson, or even an accomplishment that you are proud of. Writing prompt number 2, writing from literature. Incidents and conflicts that characters face can remind us of similar experiences in our own lives. Choose a character whose story that you can relate to. Write a personal narrative describing the real-life incident or conflict that story or character reminded you of. For example, characters to relate to: the narrator in Daughter of Invention, or Richard Wright in The Rights to the Streets of Memphis. If you look over on the sidebar, key traits. Number 1, ideas. You must focus on an interesting, well-defined experience. You must recreate the experience by using vivid and relevant details. No one wants to read a bunch of boring words. You must use vivid details, okay? Also, use dialogue and gestures to develop characters. In the following narrative that a high school student wrote on page 170, you can see how this student uses dialogue and even gestures. What do I mean about gestures? At one point, his 2 brothers jumped up and high-fived each other. That's a gesture. You need to include gestures in your narrative. Number 2, organization. You must hook the reader with an intriguing introduction. In other words, your introduction should make us want to read the rest of your narrative. So it has to be very interesting. It has to grab our attention. Number 2, under organization, you must show the order in which the events happen. Your narrative needs to be organized. Remember this. And number 3, under organization, conclude by summarizing the significance of the experience. Okay? What did you learn? You will see what the boy in the following narrative, what he learned about his experience. And then number 3, we have voice. Use a tone appropriate for the audience and purpose. Who is your audience? Your teacher and your classmates. What is the purpose, okay, of your tone? And then you have reflects the writer's personality and style. What kind of style will you write with? What about your personality? You need to input your personality in your narrative. Number 4, word choice. Word choice is extremely important. You need to use precise words to help the reader visualize the characters in action. If you go back to each of the stories, the short stories that we've read so far, you will be able to notice, you can picture how the story, how the characters looked, how they acted through their action, okay? It helps us know the characters and who they are and what they're like. Number 5, sentence fluency. You must use varied sentences to create a pleasing rhythm and flow throughout your narrative. Like I mentioned before, use some short sentences, some longer ones, even some medium ones. And number 6, extremely important, you must use correct grammar and usage. By the way, your narrative will be graded just like a quiz. So this is a very important grade for you. Turn your spell check on in Word. Go back and read your grammar and the usage and make sure that it is correct. If you have any questions, send me a message. Please do not message and say, I don't understand anything, because that's unacceptable. This is 9th grade. I know you did writing in 8th grade, so you're familiar with most of this.